I'm in Bath, England, the orderly city of Jane Austen novels, and it's like every fantasy I've ever had of life in the English countryside. I'm here with Diane Wiest, whose family is from Great Britain, and we have come to learn to bake.
Whoa! Oh, don't mess with me. I'm in control.
We don't want any blood in there, okay?
No, I won't bleed.
I am never going to see flour the same way again. I'm in Bath, England, a beautiful city, with my friend, the actress Diane Wiest, who actually has never baked bread before. And we've come for a very specific reason, and that reason is a man named Richard Bertinet, who is a famous baker and an even more famous cooking teacher. And he's going to show us his revolutionary way of baking bread.
To start for a good baker, you need good ingredients. From the wheat growing on the field to selling your bread in your shop, you've got to have the same passion always through. So you work with passionate people.
Richard's Bakery, which is only open on Saturdays and actually only for a few hours,
Oh, look at this.
is a kind of fantasy of a bakery. But they really use most of this space for cooking school.
I couldn't help myself to redo the school in my version, using very good English ingredients. What I love about this country in here is they got so many different cream.
He is also a Frenchman who came to England 20-some years ago and fell in love with this country.
Because my scones are square scones. I like to be different.
Yes.
You have real nerve, a French guy taking on stuff.
Now you've made a French scone?
Well, they're only French because I make them. The ingredients are English.
He has discovered all of these amazing local treasures, a great mill, a wonderful garden, an extraordinary dairy, and we are going to experience Bath through its food. We're going to be making lots of bread. I'm especially excited to learn Richard's method for making the perfect dough. We're going to make a classic French bread called flamiche. Then we're going to make a rack of lamb covered in local herbs. We're going to make a croustillon with local strawberries, and Diane's going to make the clotted cream herself. This is going to be classic English food, and I think it's going to be an extraordinary lesson. Richard has brought me to Shipton Mill, and I think it's really one of the reasons why Richard is in Bath, because this is really an extraordinary mill.
For a good baker, you need to really spend time working with your miller to understand the flour.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
It's a place that does things the old way. It is as anti-huge industrial as you can possibly be.
The process is one where we blend up to 5 different types of wheat. They're ground roughly in the middle of the mill, and then the finished flour comes off this end. And that's the way it's been done for the last 1,000 years here.
For the last, would you repeat that?
Last 1,000 years. There's people been milling here for 1,000 years, and we're just the last one in a line.
The mill is run by a man named John Lister. He was an anthropologist, and he said that he one day decided that he wanted a life where he was doing something real, and he wanted to be able to bring his children up around the place that he worked. And he said he walked into an old mill, and he thought, this is it. This is what I want to do.
I'm fascinated by how many different kinds of flour you have here. I mean, the one says ciabatta and one says French bread, cake flour and Italian. I mean, I didn't know you could have this many different kinds.
Every type of bread and every baking process needs a different type of flour. The dough will relax at a different time. It'll stretch at a different time. It'll take a different amount of water. So, for example, if you're making a baguette, you need a totally different flour than if you're going to make a ciabatta loaf. And every type of flour has a different type of wheat in it. This is a soft wheat, and that's a hard wheat. It's grown in a totally different place. This is grown in Scandinavia, and this is grown in Canada. And this is, if you leave the wheat there too long and you go away for the wheat...
You've got whiskey.
You then have whiskey. The wheat is alive and it's sprouted and it produces this fabulous sweet flavour.
It's very different, isn't it?
It's really different.
Yeah. And this is the malted variety. And what we try to do here is select individual parcels of wheat, which we can then blend to do different jobs.
I have never thought of wheat this way. I mean, you're making it sound like, grapes.
Fascinating.
Like
Yeah.
grapes.
It is like grapes.
That's what we are. We're really blenders.
Yeah. That's your whole wheat flour.
So, whole wheat is whole wheat. That's the whole wheat berry is ground and turned into flour. So you got bran, you have wheat germ, you have the white part of the wheat berry. To make white flour, you have to take the outer husk off. So you've got to unpeel each one. And because we're only tiny, we're able to mill it specifically for our customers. And Richard makes bread like no other man.
But I don't use fresh flour. Fresh flour is bad. I like my flour to be 3 months old, perfect.
So you have aging cave.
Aging,
Absolutely,
absolutely.
yeah.
It's a trust thing. That's where it starts. A good baker will make good bread with a good miller.
What we're making now is a very simple dough that can be used for pizza, for just about anything.
Richard, I have heard so much about your revolutionary bread method. I am dying to learn it.
You bake bread. You don't cook bread, ever. It's all about learning how to handle the dough and show the dough who's boss. You're the boss.
Got that? Ready to?
I'm the boss of the dough.
You are. You are now. But can you smell the flour?
Flour smells,
Can you smell
smells
that?
wonderful.
If you press the flour in your hand there, look at the creamy color and ivory color. The old baker's trick was when you press the flour really hard out, and you can see the strands if you hold together. We're going to use some fresh yeast and salt and water, of course.
Put it all in.
Oh, yes. So I think of this like a clock. So you start at 12 o'clock in here, and then turn to 6:30. That's what we call the phrasage. It's mixing your ingredients together. Put this on the table now. Touch in here. There. What do you feel now? From the sticky mess you got there, keep it together. What you're trying to do is to trap air. So hand goes into the dough, you lift it, thumb there, over the top.
Richard has this way of handling the dough look like the most natural motion on earth.
It's all about being consistent, dancing with the dough. That's what you got to do. Are you ready? Perfect. Slap it down over the top and pick it up again.
He's doing something that's an elegant ballet, and I'm doing something that is just stumbling with the dough.
The consistency of the dough is changing a lot.
You feel it changing. So
Feel it
your body
becoming more
becomes powerful.
supple and-
Exactly.
Just like a baby's bottom.
Yeah. Or I was going to say a breast implant, but it's not very. It's a very French thing to say. Okay. Okay. What we need to do now is put them to bed. Okay, for a couple of hours. The magic of flour, water, yeast, and salt. Look at this.
It is magic.
The dough needs to rise for a couple of hours, so I think it's time to go off and have lunch. Diane and I are going off to Richard's favorite pub.
Here we are, ladies. We have fish and chips there. I'll give that one to you.
Thank you.
And your ploughmans, both with all local ingredients.
The food at the King William pub, it is not your average pub food. Everything that they cook here is locally sourced and cooked with enormous care. It also happens to be the food of Diane's childhood.
My mom was born and raised in Uxtramukti.
Upshurmukshi.
Rude. Uxtramukti. Mukti for those in the know. In Mukti, when we went to visit when I was a kid, I would be sent down the street to Valenti's for fish and chips. And Mr. Valenti would wrap them in newspaper, and we'd carry them home. And this is as good as my memory of that fish and chips, which
Really?
is a really wonderful memory.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Isn't that
Incredible.
wonderful?
Did you try the pickled onions? They're
No,
so
that's-
good. It's so great that Richard sent us here.
Yeah.
Now we get to have the classic British meal, and it's the real thing.
It really is. I love this.
Da-da-da-da.
You do it.
This wonderful dough is so versatile, but today we're going to use it to make a flamiche, which is kind of like a quiche, but it's built on bread.
This comes from the Alsace and Champagne region of France. It's the ancestor of pizza. So the French created the pizza, really. Don't say that to the Italian. It's a joke. Now, that stage is very tempting to faff. Have you heard of the expression faffing?
Faffing? No.
Faffing.
Fluffy.
It's a very British expression. It's doing things for the sake of doing it.
Fussing.
Fussing, yeah.
Fuffing.
Faffing.
I love it. No fuffing.
No faffing with your dough, exactly. So most of cooking in the world always starts with onions. And if you can slice an onion properly, half of your cooking is done. You're gonna cut one half there, but not all the way. One more time there. And then we're gonna slice it down this way. Your onions still together. Cut it down just there. And you got your sliced onions now.
Oh my gosh.
And Ruth, would you mind doing some licks for me?
No, I'd be happy to.
Just get the green off and just slice. Okay, who's going to do a bit of faffing for me there?
I'm going to faff.
Ah, here we go then.
I am a prize faffer.
So while Ruth's faffing, Diane, you're going to break some eggs for me, please. And it's 3 eggs in there, please.
Okay.
And 3 large spoons of creme fraiche. Break it down. I want it very gloopy. The next thing we're going to do is a bit of nutmeg. And just grate a good half a nutmeg in there, okay? Just do be careful with your nail.
Okay. Okay.
We don't want any blood in there, okay?
No, I won't bleed.
So I got a piece of dough there, half of the dough we made earlier.
Okay, now, are we cooking now or are we baking?
Cooking, that's baking when it's on the top.
He makes a real distinction between cooking and baking. There's a kind of precision to baking, and in opposition, he has a kind of looseness about cooking. So it's an interesting contrast.
And there's some Gruyere cheese, something a bit sharp, and then we're gonna really long, big strain on the top.
Okay, so a good amount of cheese.
Oh yeah. If you put cheese, put cheese. And we're gonna put a bit of black pepper, and that's ready to go in the oven.
So how long does that cook for?
Bake for. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. How long does it bake?
About 25 minutes.
Richard has brought Diane and me to Babington House, where we're going to harvest what we'll need for our meal. This beautiful old classic walled English garden is 1.5 acres large, and it provides Richard with all the produce he needs for the bakery.
It has kind of magical, you know, you feel like you're inside the secret garden. How many people garden this with you?
2 of us.
Just 2 of you?
Yeah.
For this giant place?
No, I wouldn't be able to do it if I was a lot younger. You know. But now I think I know what I am doing.
Very wise.
Mike is a man who was a pharmacist and obviously a really passionate gardener.
And this is called strawberry spinach.
I've never seen that.
This is one of the heritage varieties that's been resurrected, apparently very popular in Germany about 400 years ago.
And he has this encyclopedic knowledge of not just gardening, but also garden history.
The walled garden was built about 1750.
Wow.
The property goes back, it's in the Domesday Book, so 900 or so. It was a place to show off your money, and that's why we have some of them 5, 6, 7 acres. Queen Victoria's garden was 22 acres.
My word.
We need some broad beans?
Yes.
For your salad.
Oh, I love you.
Sophie, this way. Where's Mike?
Look, they are gorgeous.
We're harvesting fava beans, beautiful English peas, 2 different kinds of strawberries.
There's tons over here, too.
And we're picking herbs, lemon thyme, which just has the most wonderful fragrance.
Oh, can I take some rosemary?
Yes, yes.
Look at that. Oh, yes.
And sage, lots of purple sage.
We have weddings here every Thursday. This past Thursday, the flower arranger used sage in the brides. Parsley, sage, rosemary.
Rosemary and
She was a
thyme.
Garfunkel fan.
We're also picking the most extraordinary iceberg lettuce I've ever seen.
Perfect.
Oh, yes.
I think I'll be dreaming about this garden.
Never let me work for you because there'd be nothing for the restaurant.
Arugula flower.
You're such a romantic, Mike. You're such a romantic, aren't you?
A little bit of that in a salad, right? It's so pungent. It's
With the more bitter leaves, we'll cut some of those into the salad to try and stimulate the different taste buds. the sweet, sour, bitter, so that when you stimulate them, you get the right gastric juices going for what you're eating. So the gardener has to know something about the chef.
Well, the food, yeah.
And the chef has to know something about the garden for this to
it's
work.
a nice connection, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't buy that freshness, can't you? If you grow it yourself.
We're going to be using the iceberg lettuce and the peas and the fava beans in a salad.
Very good.
When I was a kid, I never understood why anybody cooked peas. They're so much better raw.
That's our salad.
So I think it's time we had...
Bit of meat.
Yes, I need some meat.
Good. Okay, so I'm going to show you one of my favorite lamb dish, and then we're going to make a crust.
Richard is now going to show us how to make rack of lamb with this lovely, lovely English lamb.
First thing we're going to do is trim all that fat off.
But he's doing it in a very French way.
But what I want for the dish to look good is to get less fat on the bone. Okay, so what we need to do is clean the bone. All that fat will just burn and make your bone become really black. So you get a long bone. If you could salt and pepper the lamb for me. And then we're going to put a bit of nice local rapeseed oil there. And just rub it on the lamb, okay? That's it.
Rub it in?
Give a massage. Oh, you understand that, you see. Very good.
I'm going to let you massage because you're clearly enjoying this.
So what we'll do now, we're going to seal the lamb on both sides, just to give you some nice color. That pan is really hot now, so that side down first, and leave it there for a minute on each side. And this side the other way. Fantastic. Now it's very tempting to faff again. Absolutely
No
fine.
faffing.
No faffing. Okay, now that's smoking quite nicely. We're going to turn it over. Very good. So you get nice brown there, nice and brown there. Another minute on that side, and then we do the two extremities, and it'll be perfect. So for the crust, we'll need some branched hazelnut, okay? Some breadcrumb, and then we're gonna put some sage, that's a green sage, and purple sage. I love doing this. The smell really, really.
Well, this is why you cook, isn't it?
Just pulse it, so you get a nice blending, not mushing up.
Whoa, it's like walking into a forest.
Now we're going to just add a bit of egg, mustard, and cream together to bound it all together, okay? The key is not to put too much liquid, but just to get the right consistency.
It's so fresh. I could wear it like a perfume. Say, oh, please.
Under the armpit? Yummy. Okay, so you put your hand there and roughly just put it on top there. Nothing fancy, just really, really simply. What's happened now, when we put this in the oven, the crust is going to keep your lamb quite moist. And usually, when this is nice and brown, your lamb is done.
Aha.
Isn't that beautiful, that?
It's beautiful, and it's going to be delicious.
Let's do it.
Diane has gone off carrying some of the scones we made earlier to Ivy House Farm. It's an amazing dairy where Richard gets all of the dairy products he uses in the bakery.
Have you come very far with those scones?
This is from the Bertonnet kitchen.
They look like they need clotted cream to go with them.
Please. That
Well,
would be so lovely.
Let's go and make some.
Jeff is going to be teaching Diane how to make clotted cream. Ivy House is famous for it throughout England. It also happens to be one of my favorite things on earth.
Oh, look at these babies.
This is where it all starts. Those are about a month old.
Oh.
These are pure Jersey calves. They're a breed that's well known for its really rich, creamy milk. They're a very intelligent animal,
Yes.
and we all live together very well.
Yes.
You're coming in, join the fun down in here. You're stepping into a herringbone parlour. If you imagine a calf sucking from its mother, we have to replicate that on a cow's teeth. You put your finger in there, not too much.
You got me. You got me. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, it's strong, though.
It's strong.
Do they look forward to the milking process?
Yes, I think they do.
Okay.
I think any mother will tell you that
It's a release.
It's a release.
Absolutely.
And she's quite happy with that.
Yes.
We'll go.
Oh.
Go on,
Do
come
you
on.
ever get kicked, Jeff?
Yes. You ready to put some on?
I am.
Right, let's give it a go.
Okay. And what do I do? It just goes on automatically?
Yes, it will suck itself on automatically.
Okay.
The one on the right a bit.
Right.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Right, good. Now the left one.
Okay. Oh dear. Oh, sorry.
Good. There you are. That's how
All right,
it is.
excellent.
You've even got some muck to show for it, though.
I do. I've been christened. There comes the milk.
Here we come
for
now.
you.
Some more
Look
coming in.
at that.
That's about 25 cows worth in there.
Really?
We're going to pump the milk into this machine, which is simply a centrifuge. We call it a cream separator. Here we go. So we're now building up from about 2,000 revs up to about 8,000 revs. And we will find the heavier skim milk will fall in there, which we will bottle and sell as bottled skim milk. And then we will find cream will come out of this side, which we're going to make into our clotted cream.
Oh my gosh. It barely moves. It's so thick. Wow.
The cream gets scalded for about 2 hours, giving it a longer shelf life and its deliciously toasty taste.
And that doesn't get any better than that.
Then it gets chilled and shipped overnight to London, ready for spooning onto tea time scones.
So that's less than 12 hours.
Less than 12
They'll
hours.
have their cottage
From cow
cream from
to-
cow to table.
Yeah, so I think that's fresh. We haven't used that many carbon.
I think that's
That
fresh.
should be fresh enough.
Yes.
Using Diane's clotted cream and those beautiful strawberries we picked at Babington Gardens, we're making pudding, a croustillon, for our dessert.
I have to say, when you said we were going to make pudding, I forgot that in Britain that means dessert. I thought you meant pudding. Oh, gorgeous. I will definitely make these.
I forgot the wine. Hang on. Oops.
I've always thought of Bath as the city of Jane Austen, and now I think of it as the city of Richard Bertinet.
Here's a toast to you. You were a terrific teacher.
Thank you.
Thank you so
You're a
much.
very nice student.
It is not strange to me that he turns out to be so talented because, in fact, he is a baker who is also a cook. And those people are always the best.
Oh my gosh.
Why wouldn't it be good? It's great.
And use your finger. Don't be shy.
Richard has inspired me in so many ways. He has introduced me to people who have made me rethink what I thought I knew about wheat and about dairy and about herbs.
The proof is in the pudding, they say.
It's just...
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I really do think that what I'm taking home with me is a whole new appetite for baking.
Oh.
Why buy bread when it's so much more fun to make it yourself?